Hello everybody, it's your favorite YouTuber Austin Holloman with a honest review over my experience in the city of Gaborone of the country of Botswana. And I waited until I got back to South Africa to do a review on Botswana because now I'm looking in hindsight and my emotions are not in a current state. It's now me looking back and reviewing. So now I can actually sum up all of my experiences on everything that happened. Now, the most important thing to some of you guys, but not to me, is the cost of living. And if you guys are coming from South Africa or Kenya, now if you're coming from the United States or England, it's going to be a lot cheaper to live in Botswana. But if you're coming from South Africa, it's going to be a little more expensive. And if you're coming, as for example, Johannesburg compared to Gaborone, it's going to be more expensive. And if you're coming from Kenya, it's going to be more expensive as well. And that goes down to not necessarily the housing is going to be more expensive, but it goes down to the day-to-day costs such as eating, and if you drink alcohol, that's going to be more expensive, things like that. But transportation is surprisingly a lot cheaper in Gaborone than it is, in my opinion, in South Africa and especially Kenya. Like, you can be on one of those Matatu type buses for about an hour and spend 50 cents. And I know it's cheap in Kenya, but it's not that cheap. And then if you are riding in a Uber, which they don't have Uber, they have Yango, I believe is how you pronounce it, and they have InDrive, you can travel to most places for like $1 or $2, and usually it was around $1.40. Like, I rarely spent $2 going places whenever I was in Gaborone. So for a week, I would say that we spent, for around 11 days, it seemed like we spent around $1,000 eating and drinking. And I think here in South Africa, it probably would have been maybe $750, $500, depending on what we were doing. But take this as advice from a single man traveling to another country. So we did spend around $1,000, I would say. Now, surprisingly, the Airbnbs are ridiculously overpriced. Like, I know that they have to be marking up those nights 75% of what it's costing them to pay the rent. So for example, we were there for 11 days, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. We probably spent close to around $1,500, maybe even $1,700. I remember every 3 or 4 days we were spending like $400 or $500 on the Airbnb, and that was for one that was nice. You know, even we even stayed at one where there was like spiders and shit all throughout the house, and you know, roaches, and it looked like it was built during World War II, and that shit was $500 for 4 or 5 days. It was about $100 a night. So yeah, we spent a good amount of money on the Airbnb. So just keep that in mind. But rent there is not that expensive. Like, you can get a nice 1-bedroom apartment there for under $500. So I don't know why the Airbnbs are being extorted like that, but yeah, they are, trust me. Now, the second thing is the weather was very nice. It was very hot, 95 degrees. I don't know what that is in Celsius, but 95 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you guys are from Texas, you know it can get 115 degrees in July. And it's at least 100 degrees every day in July. So I can deal with it, but it was very hot. But the thing is, it was very hot and sunny, but the thing is, it can literally flip from summertime to wintertime overnight. So it was 95 degrees the entire time we were there, and then the past 3 or 4 days we were there, the last 3 or 4 days, it was literally like 58 degrees and windy and raining outside. So it literally went from shorts, don't put any body oil on because you're going to suffocate your skin, sweating the whole time, got to take 2 showers in a day, to literally hoodies and sweatpants and people walking around in scarves overnight, essentially. And they were telling me that the weather does swap, like it's very common for it to just swap like that overnight. Now, being occupied and things to do, if you are a tourist that enjoys places like Pattaya, Thailand, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Sao Paulo, you know, Medellin, Colombia, Lima, Peru, even Nairobi, Kenya, or Johannesburg or Cape Town, or Durban, do not come to Botswana thinking that it will be anything like that. Like, you can pretty much see all the nightlife you need to see in one weekend in that city, and you can see all the nature that you need to see in 1 week or less in that city. You can pretty much do everything that you need to do in 4 or 5 days there, it seems like. So if you're going there, this is more for like the folks that want to go look at the zebras and look at the hills, mountains, and rocks, and look at the different animals like the meerkats that roam around the desert out west. and look at the nice sunset, National Geographic type of stuff. That is literally what Botswana is for, in my opinion, when it comes to tourism. Not people that want to come hang out and drink. Now, I will say, when we went out during the nightlife, it was very, very nice. The people were, and we're going to get to the people here in a minute. The people were engaging, and people were having a good time. They had great music, but there's not a lot of stuff to do. Like Monday through Thursday, you're not going to be doing shit. Like there's the grocery stores, like the malls closed by 6, 7 o'clock. The liquor stores are closed before the sun goes down. There's no real delivery app service. Like Uber Eats can pretty much deliver anything, any time of day in a place like Kenya. Not literally. I'm pretty sure you can't order a light bulb at 2 a.m, but maybe you can, because the quick marts are still open. But the thing is, in Gaborone, everything is shut down by 6, 7 o'clock. And you're not going to be able to order alcohol. You can't go buy. So you need to do all that stuff before the sun goes down. So you essentially need to stock up on alcohol if you drink alcohol. You need to stock up on groceries, all that. Now, speaking of the food was, and I tried their their traditional cuisines and stuff like that. If you've been to African countries, or if you're a traveler in general, from what I saw, their natural, why do I keep saying natural? Their traditional foods is going to be nothing new. And by that, I mean, like, some of their traditional foods is like oxtails, shredded chicken, shredded goat meat, something that's the equivalent to ugali or fufu, and then something that's the equivalent to those little greens, spinach-like greens that they eat in East Africa. And so the reason I say it's nothing new is because I kept asking them when I would go to restaurants, like, give me something that I've never tried. Like, give me a monkey's brain, something that only you would find here in Botswana. And so I couldn't really find anything, because I've eaten goat meat in several different countries and continents. I've eaten oxtails in the United States. I've eaten that. They have that everywhere. Ugali, fufu, like that type of, it's a different word for it down there, but it's pretty much the same thing. And those greens I've eaten in West and East Africa, and Southern Africa before. So when it came to traditional cuisine, sorry, I stuttered. When it came to traditional cuisine, I could not find anything that was significant. Like acai in Brazil. That's like native to Brazil. So I couldn't really find anything. Now, they are known for some of the best beef in the world. They say that they have more cows than people there, which I found that to be insane, but that's what they said. But I didn't really see too many steakhouses, but they do have a barbecue culture. So if you grew up in the United States, they have the hood picnic, right? And for black folks, they have the hood picnic where they have music playing, people drinking, and they're barbecuing. There was a restaurant that we went to there that was just like that, and I listed it in my Gaborone, Botswana blueprint down below. That's in the first pinned comment. Make sure you pick it up if you want to figure out all the places that we went to and where we stayed and everything for that. It's on pre-order right now for half the price that it would cost. But if you want to use that to save your time, money, and energy and put it in the right places when you go to Gaborone, that's what that guide is for. Now, but the food was great. The food was great. I give the food literally like a 9 out of 10. Like, I really enjoyed the food. It just wasn't nothing, significant to Botswana that I could find. And there was some sort of antler. They have donkey meat there. I didn't get to try it, but that's what they said. But there was some sort of thing that's in the country that has the twisted antlers that I ate it. I really wasn't too impressed with that. But anyway, let's go to the people. So, remember, as I speak about the people, I'm speaking from the perspective of a single man. Black American man is that. I found everybody in Botswana to be very friendly. Like, I didn't have one negative experience when I was talking to people in Botswana. Men and women. Now, as I've told you guys before, from being in Zambia, Mozambique, South Africa, and now Botswana, a lot of the men that I bumped into were LGBT, and I knew this for a fact because of the stuff that they were saying to me, putting their hands on my leg. And I'm not saying all of them are like that. I'm just saying, I've told you guys before, in Southern Africa, that is a thing. Like, that is very common I guess it's just more open. And I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't. It's just an observation. And I guess in that scenario, you can say I had some negative experiences as far as the men go, because I'm not into that. But maybe some of y'all are into that. Maybe y'all like men holding your hands and putting their hand on your legs. I don't. But, whatever. That doesn't work for me. But anyway, they were very friendly, very warm energy. Men and women had very warm energy. Everybody wanted to talk, especially they're curious because Botswana doesn't have many American tourists from what they were telling me. And I mean, it's obvious why there's nothing to do there. So there was like a wow factor. Oh, what are you doing here? Like, what brings you here? And leading into that, you know, I didn't have any confrontations. Nobody was giving me mean mugs. I felt very welcome. I felt like I could actually live there because of that. Because, as I always say, you can have as many paved roads as you want and good food, but if everybody in the city is a Ku Klux Klan member, it doesn't fucking matter. The people are more important. And that's why I say I could live in Botswana, because the people were very friendly to me, especially the women. The women were digging us like heavy. Like, sometimes it felt like we were the only men in the damn room when we were there. They were literally to the point where they were pointing and flirting and smiling and that. You know, not much conversation, some of them, but they were very interested and very attracted and friendly. Let's just say that. And I go further into depth on that in my blueprint on what our experience was like with that. But I rate the women 10 out of 10. Like, very beautiful, well fed, you know, and by well fed I'm talking about how their bodies look. Like, it looks like they're eating good. Like, they're curvy, they got a lot of body, they have huge thighs, big, like, you know, it would be paradise for a black man to look at the women down there. But I'm not gonna make the video too much about women, because you know how y'all act whenever I do that. But let's just say that they were very nice women, okay? And if you know, they did kind of play, you know, playing games a little bit, but it wasn't nothing that was intolerable. It wasn't all of them. But overall, my experience with like socializing with women there, I would give it like a 9 out of 10. Like, there were just some slight things that I didn't like, but like, it's nothing for me to get online and complain about at all. But would I go back to, first of all, who would I recommend go to Botswana? Oh, and I forgot, it's very, very safe there. Like, we went by their version of their slums, and it looks better than the projects in the United States. There's not 40 dudes hanging around and stuff like that. You know, so it was very safe. I would feel fine going to the ATM late at night. But who would I recommend go to Botswana? I would recommend families and single people, and specific men, because I can't give women advice really, because I don't date men. But I would recommend single men go there, but just make sure you have a job and stuff to do. Like, don't go there for a vacation. Like, my job is to create content, so I'll always have something to do and talk about. But like, yeah, if you're a software engineer and you work a lot, yeah, go there as a single man. But if you're a family and you're looking to raise a family somewhere, they have a good education system, as you could tell. All the people, everybody had cars. If you guys have been to Dallas-Fort Worth DFW, and you know how it's spread out to the point where you can't walk anywhere. Like, if you want to walk to the grocery store and you're living in Arlington, Texas, it's probably going to take you 45 minutes to walk to the grocery store. So it's not close enough for you to walk. And public transportation like Uber is too expensive, so it makes sense to just get a car. Every woman and damn near every person I met had a car in Botswana. So that was a huge plus, especially if you're, it just adds convenience to your lifestyle. But if you're looking to raise a family, I think they have a good education system there. It's safe. The city seems to be family oriented. And yeah, I would recommend, so I'd recommend anybody, and especially nature tourists. But for y'all that practice poverty tourism, y'all like to go and like show like poor shit everywhere, that's not gonna work. And you guys know I don't like poverty tourism. The last time I went to a slum, I was in Uganda, and I saw all those flies flying around. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing this shit again. Okay, I get it. They're poor. Like, I don't need to show the whole world that. And that's not shitting on anybody that does do that. But I mean, I think National Geographic and the rest of Western media has covered enough poor shit in Africa to the point where I, as a black American, don't need to add to it. Like, most people think that Africans are poor and dirty and big malnutrition bellies and HIV in the first place. So I don't really need to reinforce that. That's why I show, you know, more of a middle to up class lifestyle in most of these places. I don't need to show y'all no more poor shit. Would I go back to Botswana? I will be going back to Botswana. Would I live in Botswana? Probably not, but I would live there maybe, 1 to 2 months at a time throughout the year to make, because Nairobi, I can't stay throughout the year entire time. My focus is too much to do there. It's too perfect for me to the point where I lose focus on my main purpose of my life and my channel. So I would go back to Botswana to actually get an escape. What would I rate my experience? 1 out of 10, 10 being the best. I would rate my experience a 9 out of 10. And I will say one thing that Botswana taught me or reinforced me about myself was that literally, because a lot of you guys like to make everything about women on my channel. Sometimes I hate that I started off talking about dating in other countries, because now it's hard to shake y'all off. It just reminded me that I'm not as thirsty as y'all, and I'm not that thirsty for female validation and attention. Okay? I don't have to like constantly be smashing everywhere I go. I can take my time and have a filter. Some of y'all need to learn that. But anyway, like I said, we go in depth. You can download the pre-order of the Botswana Blueprint, where we talk about everywhere that we stay, everywhere that we went and that we stayed, and how to save money, all that we learned that amount of time to have the best experience and to actually not be bored the entire time. The pre-order would be down below in the first pinned comment in the description. It'll say Botswana Blueprint. And if you would like to speak with me, the consultation link will be down there as well. And as I always say, make sure you go to kick.com/AustinHolloman if you want to support me for free by watching my live stream content. Kick pays me to go live on there. YouTube does not. Let me know what you guys thought about this review in the comments. Again, Botswana is one of my top 4 countries. I loved it. I will be back. I love the people. I loved everything about it. And I will see you guys next time.